Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. I've got a little bit of a confession to make. Follow me, I want to show you guys something. You may have noticed that a few things have changed around here. Things look slightly different, and there's a reason for that. Because we've started shooting the primary amount of our A cam with the new LUMIX S5. And why am I talking about the LUMIX S5? Well, because Panasonic sent it to us for us to use to film Gear Seekers videos. LUMIX cameras have always been the lifeblood of this channel, right? So when Panasonic reached out and said they wanted to send us their new full frame S5, how could I possibly say no? LUMIX cameras are the types of cameras that we trust, and these things are designed to be workhorses. And that's exactly what they are for us. These are the bread and butter and lifeblood of this channel. In fact, let me show you what we're filming this segment on. As you can see, we already shoot a majority of our stuff on the GH5. It is one of the major staples of the channel. So that's why when they said, hey, you want an S5? Say hi, Clelo. That's Clelo Ren, ladies and gents. What do you reckon, Clelo? Did we say yes? Of course we said yes. This might be starting to sound like an ad for the LUMIX S5, but it's not. I wanted to challenge myself to do something different with a camera that I trust, that I've been using for weeks. So what we're gonna do is film an entire build video, and not just any build video, it's one that you guys have requested. It's the Gigabyte Vision build, and we're doing it in a case you guys have requested. We went out and bought this one this morning. It's the new Corsair Airflow 400D. We're gonna do it from here on out on the LUMIX S5. All right, we're rolling on the S5 now. With that said, let's do mini part shopping. I'm just gonna show you the Vision parts because you guys have been asking to see them. Obviously, the 3080 Vision that we covered a couple days ago, I'll put a link up there if you guys wanna see what we said about this card. And bit of a different choice. Now, if you look down here, we have all of the Vision motherboards. You might notice that this one's popping out a little bit because I'm gonna go with the B550 Vision D. Basically because of the cooler that we're using and the other CPUs that I got available for this. So let's go with that. That's what we're going with. All right, mini part shopping done. That was the lamest part shopping segment ever, but it's time, ladies and gents. It's build time. Let's do it. Alright ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this build video on the new Corsair 4000D. Now the reason why I'm really wanting to talk about the LUMIX S5 in this video is because we get questions basically every single day of the week as to what we use to shoot Gear Seekers videos. And that's the brilliant thing with the video today. I shot this entire video with a single camera and a single lens, and that being the new LUMIX S5 and the new 20-60 3.5 to 5.6. I think that's what it is, yeah. I'm looking at it right now there, that's exactly what it is. I don't pay attention to that stuff too much because it's not important. As long as you've got the right tool for the job, you can shoot videos just like ours. And the LUMIX S5 fits that perfectly. The real purpose of this build was to show exactly what the LUMIX S5 can do. And I wanted to show you guys that if you only had one camera, you could film videos just like ours. And this just goes to show that you can have all of the gear in the world, but all you need is one really good camera. And that's the other thing with the S5 as well. It's not overly expensive for a full frame camera. You actually get a kit with it as well, where you can get this new 20-60, which is the lens that we shot this entire video on as well, because I wanted to see if I could, go out of my comfort zone and shoot an entire Gear Seekers video on a single lens. So that's exactly what I did here. The other reason why we use LUMIX cameras, and specifically the LUMIX S5 now, is because it's really easy for us to match all the color profiles. So we shoot everything in the Vlog gamut, and for color grading, we're using the exact same color grading that we use for the GH5. So using the LUMIX S5 to slot into our workflow, it just basically means that we now have a full frame body, but it color grades the exact same way. So I don't have to waste time trying to get all of our footage to match. The brilliant thing about the LUMIX S5 is it's blended so well into our workflow and the way we do everything around here that no one has picked up that we've actually added to our workflow. And that's not a bad thing, that's a really good thing. It just goes to show that the LUMIX S5 can keep up with what we're already doing. If you saw the intro, I confess that we've actually been using this camera for about 3 weeks. And the reason why I didn't talk about it until now is because I really wanted to give this thing a properly good run for its money and to prove to myself that it was worth the upgrade. And I can tell you now, the LUMIX S5 is a definite addition to our workflow. The file formats work with what we shoot everything in as well, because we shoot everything in 10-bit 4K, really easy to work with, really easy to color grade. So yeah, it just slots straight into our workflow without having to change anything that we're already doing. But now, again, the benefit is full frame sensor and a new camera. And that's the thing, guys, when you get a new camera like the LUMIX S5, and if you guys are into cameras, you know what those new camera feels are like. You just get so excited, you get so motivated to want to shoot awesome content again. And I'm glad that we got this opportunity from Panasonic, because the other part of this story is we were looking at buying one of these new full frame cameras from Panasonic anyway, because we trust them, the system's good. We can adapt any lens that we need to this system, which we're already doing as well. It's something that I'll talk about in another video, but yes, like we can adapt all of our current lenses that we use to shoot all of our stuff anyway. It's a no-brainer for us to upgrade to the LUMIX S5 for doing all of this A-cam stuff. So that's the primary use for this camera now. So anytime you see me talking to camera, it's going to be the LUMIX S5, and that's just the way that we wanted to have it. And it works perfectly for us, because what it means is when we shoot in our other sets, like my office set and the streaming room set and all the other types of places that we film around our house, I can worry less about the lighting and less about the noise and make sure that the LUMIX S5 gets the job done, and it does. And it's proved itself over the last few weeks. And the last thing I really want to drill home about why this was a great upgrade for us is the size of the camera. The LUMIX S5 is absolutely tiny. It's smaller than the GH5, which is unbelievable. That's already a small camera as it is. So for us having this huge sensor and us physically being able to put the camera into tighter situations, it makes it a lot more attractive, and it actually makes me more creative with the shots that we do here. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about the LUMIX S5, I'll put a link in the description. It'll give you basically all the information about everything that I'm talking about in this video. It's some really interesting stuff, and I'm not just saying that because Panasonic sent us this camera. I really do believe in Lumix cameras. We've been using them for many, many years. I think our first one was like the GH4 back in the day, that was a long, long time ago, but we have been using these cameras for a very, very long time, and we do trust them as our workhorses for all of the video content that we make, and that's the reality. Anyways, this wouldn't be a Gear Seekers video if we didn't talk about the parts in this build. Also, I just wanted to mention as well, we're doing a full review of this case at a later date, so never fear. I will talk about thermals and everything in another video, but yeah, like I said, this is basically to show you what the LUMIX S5 can do. Anyway, the CPU is the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 XT. To cool that, we actually used a new cooler from ID Cooling. What is it? It's the Zoom Flow 240X from ID Cooling. Obviously, there's going to be a PC part picker list down below in the description where I'll talk about all of the parts in this build. Anyway, the RAM, we went with 32 gigs of Corsair Dominator Platinum in white. It's the RGB memory as well. We do have a problem with 2 of the Capellex LEDs on the RAM. They're actually blue, they're stuck blue. I can't change them. So there's nothing I could have done about it with the time that we had to put this together, because I've actually got to move the GPU onto Tech Yes City. I need to give Brian a run with the Vision GPU as well. So yeah, I need to get this system pulled apart and this off the Brian as quickly as possible, but it is the Gigabyte RTX 3080 Vision. You guys have asked us so much about it. You guys wanted us to do a build like this. In fact, we probably got like 50 comments to say, hey, can you do a Vision build in this case as well? So that's why we put it together. The motherboard is the Gigabyte B550 Vision D. There's actually a crazy amount of Corsair fans. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk about the rest of the parts because I feel like this video is going to go for too long. I'll put them all in the PC part picker list down below so you can peruse that list and basically see what everything is. And that's basically it for this video. Once again, thank you so very much to Panasonic for giving us a LUMIX S5 to add to our Gear Seekers video workflow. And the other thing I just wanted to add as well, it's not just a video camera, it is a phenomenal photo camera. In fact, the thumbnail for this video is also shot on the LUMIX S5. Claire's actually been using it to shoot thumbnails over the last few weeks as well. And again, that's why the thumbnails are slightly changed as well, because we've got this extra headroom to really flex, and Claire's been flexing her photography skills over the last few weeks, that's for sure. Anyways, guys, if you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. If you want to get early access to videos just like this, head on over to our float plane. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek. And again, I've got to say it again. If you want more info about the LUMIX S5, there is a link in the description down below. And don't forget, we will have a full review of this case coming in the next few weeks after all the madness that's going on with all these new product launches. We just didn't have time. So yeah, thanks for watching.